Sculk sensors. There's a good chance you've heard about these recently, and if for some reason you haven't, it's basically a new redstone block that's going to be released in the Caves and Cliffs update. Now, Minecraft 1.17 isn't going to be released until next year, but one very intelligent human being has managed to create a mod that allows us to have access to this new block early. Opisek is the creator of this mod, and I'll leave a link in the description to both his channel and where you can download the mod for yourself. Today I'm going to be experimenting with the Sculk sensor and just seeing what exactly we can do with it. Now, I'm not a redstone genius, so don't expect to see anything absolutely groundbreaking in this video. This is just going to be me purely messing around with various ways this can be used, but I'll try my best to make this as interesting as possible. Alright, so first of all, I guess we'll just place one of these down and test to see if it works. Yes, it does work. So, how far away does this actually pick up a signal from? I think we should probably measure that. Okay, so I think I've managed to work out the radius in which the Sculk sensor picks up the sound waves from. So if we take a look here, if we place just a redstone lamp anywhere outside of this radius, it will not do anything. It will not pick up the signal. However, if we place one of these blocks inside the radius or just on the border right here, anywhere inside, it will pick up the signal like so. So that's very useful to know. Obviously, this is a mod. We don't know if this is actually going to be the case in the actual release of Minecraft 1.17, but it does give us a pretty good idea of what to expect. So this is definitely going to be very useful, and it's going to be cool to see what kind of contraptions people come up with using this kind of radius, maybe an alarm system, like a trap, or a redstone piston door. I don't know. There's lots of stuff that you could do with this. It's very cool. Right, so let's see if we can make something using these Sculk sensors. So obviously if we place it down and walk near it, or place a block near it, then that will trigger the sound waves to trigger the Sculk sensor. So perhaps if we can make something that utilizes that mechanic. Okay, so placing another Sculk sensor down near it triggers it. Perhaps maybe trapdoor. Yeah, so that appears to do the same thing as well. Maybe two trapdoors. Ooh. Okay, that's very interesting. So I seem to have created some form of Sculk sensor redstone clock. Maybe if we place a redstone behind it. Yeah, okay, so it does indeed act as a redstone clock. Maybe a lamp? Yes, it does activate the lamp as well. So it is basically a redstone clock, but just a very, very strange one. Maybe a note block as well? So it does activate the note block. Maybe if we branch this out into multiple versions of the same thing, maybe? I don't really know what I'm doing here, but... Okay, maybe if we change the notes. Okay. Perhaps if we replicate the same thing on the other side, that could be very interesting. As I said, this isn't really going to be anything professional. It's more me kind of messing around with this. Oh my goodness. Okay, what have I created? I don't really know what I've made here. I wouldn't say this is entirely useful, but it does demonstrate what you can do with these Sculk sensors. Very interesting and intriguing indeed. Okay, let's try and make something else. Something else I think would be really cool to make using these Sculk sensors would be an automatic piston door. So I think I'm just going to go with your general run-of-the-mill piston door design here. Nothing too special. As I said, I am not a redstone genius, so don't expect anything spectacular here. So, okay, this is going to be where we walk across, and then I think a block, oh, wrong block, here, and then a piece of redstone here, and then we can place our pistons like so. Actually, we might need to cover up this floor here. So we'll place our pistons down like this, and we have some glass here which we can put on the door. So we've got ourselves a door, but it's not much use if it doesn't open. So I think we'll just dig down here. So how much space are we going to leave this? I think this should be enough here. If we place the sensor here, I think that should give it enough time to reach the doors. So Okay, so that looks like it works, although it does activate a little bit early, so we might actually use some repeaters and just slow it down a little bit, like so. Maybe just 3 ticks on this one, and then cover it back up like so, and there we go. So once it closes, we should be able to test it now. Perfect! That's absolutely perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better than that. Perhaps if we're walking, actually, that might also be a possibility. And yeah, it works completely fine. Completely fine. A flawless redstone door, and it works completely fine. I'm very happy with that. So one thing that Opisek showed off in his video was this sort of dance floor like contraption, and I really like the idea, so I'm going to try and recreate that. And basically what it consists of is just a bunch of these Sculk sensors with observers on the top, like this, and then redstone lamps on top of the observers. And basically what this does is when the Sculk sensor picks up a signal, it will feed that into the observer, which will then feed the signal into the redstone lamp, like this. And so basically as you're looking around, it will then light up the redstone lamps around the Sculk sensor which picked up the signal in the first place. So if we just go ahead and fill in the rest of this, like so, and then the redstone lamps, when we stand on the redstone lamps and walk around, it will light up all the redstone lamps which are around us. And of course this is a very small scale version of what you could do, so with the power of editing, I will see you back once I've done just that. I think to really appreciate this, you just have to build it and try it out for yourself, because this is extremely fun. I mean, just look at this. I mean, who would not want a dance floor in their world? I mean, it's incredibly simple to build, so there really isn't an excuse not to build one. But I think this dance floor is missing something. I think we may have just reached a new level of awesomeness. I mean, it's a rainbow dance floor. I don't think there is anything else that's cooler than this. I mean, just look at this. Who would not want to have one of these things in their world? It's it's so unnecessary, but it's really cool. So another thing I think would be really cool to make is an arrow trap. So if we just place down one of these sensors, right, so how are we going to do this? Maybe if we make a platform above the sensor itself, just a simple 3x3, that should just do fine. Right, so I'm using glass because it just allows you to see the actual sound waves traveling to the sensor. I think that looks very cool, but of course if you are going to make a trap like this, you would want to make it not transparent, because that kind of defeats the purpose of it being a trap. So if we go ahead and place observers and then redstone lamps, I think this should work just fine. So if we just continue that pattern all the way up like this, and then I think this should be just about fine, and then we place a dispenser facing this way and then pop some arrows inside, and I think that should work just fine. So if we just go ahead and stand here and walk around a bit, then that will trigger arrows to start firing, and if we just stand here staying still, it will continue to fire arrows until the player dies. Because, well, if the player goes away, or, you know, in quotation marks, the player dies, then the arrows will eventually stop. However, if there is something here, then the arrows will continue to fire over and over again until the dispenser runs out of arrows. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with that. A really cool feature I forgot to mention is wall occlusion. So let me just demonstrate what I mean by that. So if we go ahead and activate this clock right here, you can see that the sound waves travel between the Sculk sensors coming from the trapdoors opening and closing. It works perfectly fine. However, if we go ahead and place down a piece of wool in the center right here, then the sound waves will not be able to reach the other Sculk sensor because they will be trapped, or rather absorbed, by the wool. So it's a pretty neat feature, and it is just wool. So if we go ahead and activate the clock once again, you can see it's working perfectly fine again. And if we place down a piece of andesite, let's say, or any other block, then the sound waves will continue to travel through the block and they will arrive at the other Sculk sensor. So it is just wool, and I think it's a pretty neat feature. So this does also work vertically as well. So if we go ahead and activate this clock right here, which is essentially the same thing as what we just looked at, just vertically, of course. So it's functioning as we would expect it to, and it's working. The sound waves are traveling between the Sculk sensors and coming from the trapdoors. It works perfectly fine. That's all I'm trying to say here. So if we go ahead and place down one of these pieces of wool, just in the center, anywhere will do, and you can see that, surprise surprise, the wool absorbs the sound waves coming from the trapdoor right here, and it stops the clock from functioning. So yeah, I think it's a pretty intriguing and useful feature to have. And that is unfortunately all I have time for today. Now, we didn't do a crazy amount, but hopefully this video gave you an idea as to what you can do with the Sculk sensor, and I'm very interested to see what people can come up with using this new block in the future. But regardless, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please do leave a like and a comment, and if you are new here, then please do consider subscribing, as I really would appreciate that too. Anyway, I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya!